Star Times, Channel 276. Now the news in full. Vice President Kashim Shettima has departed Abuja to represent President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the inauguration of Guinea's President Mamadi Doumbouya in Conakry. The Vice President is also scheduled to proceed to Davos, Klosters, Switzerland to attend the 56th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum following his participation in the presidential inauguration. According to a statement issued by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, Stanley Nwokocha, the Vice President, attendance at the ceremony underscored Nigeria's strategic engagement in regional leadership, economic partnership, and global economic integration under President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. The political tension in Rivers State has taken a dramatic turn as the State House of Assembly formally resumed impeachment proceeding against Governor Siminalaya Fubara and his deputy, pushing the crisis into a decisive constitutional phase. Samuel Odi has the details.
The Rivers State House of Assembly has reignited the impeachment process against the governor and deputy governor, signaling an escalation in the ongoing power struggle between the legislature and the executive. Addressing journalists in Port Harcourt, the leadership of the Assembly dismissed claims that the move is politically motivated, insisting that the action is rooted strictly in constitutional responsibility. Lawmakers urged that the executive arm has persistently violated the provision of Constitution and failed to respect agreement previously reached to restore harmony in governance.
In a bid to gain or win sympathy for the governor or deputy governor, many who do not mean well for Rivers State or democracy simply reduce everything to disagreement between our political leader and the governor. The real problem is that the governor and his deputy are at war.
The Assembly further expressed disappointment over what it described as a rejection of peace efforts extended to the executive. According to lawmakers, the gesture was met with hostility, including alleged media attacks orchestrated by aides of the governor, aimed at intimidating legislators and forcing them to abandon the impeachment process, now resumed for the third term.
During the pendency of this appeal, we found out that the governor and the deputy governor, they have all employed their media boys and aides to continuously attack the Rivers State House of Assembly.
Convinced that their strategy is to intimidate us into withdrawing the impeachment process for the third time while they continue their infractions on the Constitution and the law.
Lawmakers also condemned the attempt to reignite the constitutional dispute as an ethnic or tribal conflict, warning that such narratives are dangerous and capable of undermining national unity.
If all of us want peace, if we want justice, if we want a society that is ordered, then we must be subject to the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Following deliberations, the House, presided over by Speaker retired Honorable Martins, conducted a vote on whether to proceed with the impeachment investigation. 25 lawmakers voted in favor with no dissenting vote and no aberration. Invoking Section 188, subsection 5 of the 1999 Constitution, the Speaker announced that the resolution would be forwarded to the Chief Judge of Rivers State for the next stage of action.
By virtue of Section 188, subsection 5, I will ensure that the resolution of this House is immediately communicated to the Chief Judge of Rivers State.
The Chief Judge is now expected to constitute a 7-man panel to investigate the allegation against the governor and deputy governor as impeachment process advances into its full constitutional course. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
Meanwhile, for members of Rivers State House of Assembly who recently withdrew from the impeachment proceeding against Governor Siminalaya Fubara have reversed their decision and declared support for the process. The lawmakers are the minority leader of the House, Silvanus Nwankwo, Peter Abe, representing Dagema constituency, Barile Nwoko of Kana constituency 1, and Emila Amadi of Obiakpo Constituency 2. The lawmakers made a U-turn during a live broadcast aired from the front of the Rivers State House of Assembly complex, days after publicity calling for an amicable resolution of the political crisis rocking the state. The National Economic Council, that is NEC, has approved the constitution of a committee to oversee the implementation of President Bola Tinubu's directive on the actualization of his administration's legacy projects, particularly the Lagos, Calabar, and Sokoto Badagry coastal highways. The resolution was reached at the 156th NEC meeting, the first of the year, held virtually. A statement signed by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications Office of the Vice President, Stanley Mwacha, says the Council also resolved to deepen engagement with stakeholders to boost non-oil revenue in line with the economic blueprint of Tinubu's administration. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has signed a memorandum of understanding with the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, that is IITA, aimed at improving soil health, boosting fertilizer efficiency, and strengthening Nigeria's drive towards food sovereignty. The agreement was signed at a ceremony in Abuja as part of the Presidential Soil Health Scheme. Speaking at the event, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, said the partnership will transform soil management practice through data-driven fertilizer and crop recommendations, helping farmers improve yield while reducing production costs. He added that the collaboration would also address challenges such as soil degradation, erosion, and climate change using modern technology and embraced land management system. Also speaking, the Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, explained that the MOU focuses on strengthening soil health and climate services, building national capacity through research and data system, and promoting a regional model of cooperation across ECOWAS. He disclosed that soil testing laboratories would be established across all 774 local government areas to guide farmers and what to plant, where to plant, and the appropriate fertilizer to use. Workers employed by the Federal Capital Territory Administration has announced plans to shut down government offices across Abuja and its area council as they commence a strike on Monday, January 19, 2026. The decision was taken by the Joint Union Action Congress, which directed workers at all cadre with the FCT to withdraw their services following what it described as the authorities' failure to address long-standing labor and welfare demands. The public relations officer of the union, Halina Adejo, confirmed the development to newsmen in Abuja. The strike is expected to affect all FCTA secretariats, departments, agencies, and councils and parastatals, effectively grounding government activities within the territory. The Supreme Court dismissed an appeal by Aminu Sule Lamido, son of former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido, challenging the forfeiture of $40,000 to the federal government. A 5-member panel of the Apex Court, led by Justice Inyang Okoro, ruled that the appeal lacked merit, affirming the decision of the lower court. In a unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Adamu Jauro and read by Justice Abubakar Sadiq Umar, the court said the appeal was doomed to fall and formally upheld the forfeiture of the funds to the federal government. The case dates back to December 11, 2012, when Aminu was arrested at Malam Aminu Kano International Airport while preparing to travel to Cairo, Egypt. He had declared $100,000 to the Nigerian Customs Service, but was found in possession of $50,000 in cash. The Nigerian Medical Association says cases concerning negligence by its members are only referred to regulatory agencies which deal with Code of Medical Ethics and National Health Act. Chairman of the Association FCT chapter, Dr. Emeka Ayogu, disclosed this in an exclusive interview with Global Television health correspondent Zarau Nasir.
Doctor's negligence or medical malpractice is when a healthcare professional fails to provide the accepted standard of care, resulting in patient's injury, harm, or death, requiring proof of a duty of care. Common examples include misdiagnosis, surgical errors, and failure to get informed consent, leading to potential legal action or disciplinary measures. The Nigerian Medical Association FCT chapter says part of what they are doing to prevent the occurrence of doctors' negligence is creating awareness on the issue of medical ethics, educating members to be very vigilant and also follow the medical conducts while on duty.
Actually, it's a very pathetic situation when it happens, and the NM has a body, of course, a body of doctors. We create awareness and also preach and remind people the issue of medical ethics. We periodically engage members to, be very, very vigilant, make sure they employ medical code conduct. Do you understand? And also make sure they operate based on acceptable standards.
Dr. Emeka Ayogu also says whenever such a case is found, the regulatory bodies will sanction, penalize, or suspend the doctor.
They will act accordingly. Of course, eventually, made in law courts, sometimes Nigeria Medical and Dental Council will sanction them, penalize them, sometimes suspend them, withdraw their licenses, and occasionally copy to us NME.
Medical negligence is a growing concern in Nigeria, stemming from acts or omissions by healthcare professionals that fall below the accepted standard of care, leading to patients' injury or death. Zahra Nasir, reporting for Global TV.
Proper sanitation and environmental hygiene have been identified as critical in preventing the spread of Lassa fever. Dr. Aisha Ladan Musa of Federal Medical Center, Abuja, who made this known in an exclusive interview with Global Television, emphasized that the best protection remains simple hygiene and public awareness. Again, Zarau Nasir gives us the details.
Lassa fever is an acute viral illness and hemorrhagic fever caused by the Lassa virus. It is endemic to parts of West Africa, particularly Nigeria, Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. The virus is primarily transmitted to humans through contact with the urine or feces of infected multi-mammat rats or through direct contact with an infected person's bodily fluids. Dr. Aisha Ladan Musa of Federal Medical Center, Abuja, explained that raising community awareness and educating people on how the disease is transmitted remains essential strategies in reducing infections. The doctor said the greatest knowledge is knowing how to prevent Lassa fever, not just how to cure it.
The prevention goes beyond we individuals. It starts from awareness. Okay, so the most important thing in Lassa fever is community awareness. We have to inform educate the people on mode of transmission, the causal organism, and how it is transmitted from one to another. Because the greatest knowledge is how to prevent, is not how to cure. Yes, so outside that, also environmental and environmental factors also play a role, like sanitation.
In Abuja, some residents said they are already taking preventive measures by covering their food, maintaining good hygiene, and keeping rats away from their homes.
I know Lassa fever is a disease that causes harm to the human immune system. By making sure you're staying in a clean environment, because it's been transmitted by rats. So if you're living in an environment that is very dirty, they would easily have access to your environment, and then they would easily...
I know it's a disease caused by rodents that comes out of rats and it's related from the rat class. Avoiding deaths, because they come around deaths, they come, and when the time they also come around deaths, they feed on your food that you keep in your kitchen or wherever on your dining, and then you also have to also protect yourself from your dispenser.
I know it's one of the deadly fever that keep people fast, and I know it's introduced from rats. Are not keeping our food very well, we are not covering our food store or other things.
Public health issues pose a huge challenge in Nigeria, putting more pressure on the country's already overstretched healthcare systems. However, the outbreak of Lassa fever has further complicated the situation. Zahra Unasir, reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching the AM News on Global Television. When the AM News returns, we'll bring you more stories from the world of business, foreign scene, and sport. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Welcome back from that break. Now let's take you to the world of business, where the Deputy Speaker, House of Representative Benjamin Kalu, has called for urgent collective action to face the nation's food security challenges, warning that agriculture must move from the margin to the center of Nigeria's development strategy. Speaking at the annual general meeting of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, that is AFAN, in Abuja, the Deputy Speaker stressed that unity among farmers, government, and the private sector is critical to transforming Nigeria's agricultural sector. National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick completes this report.
Addressing the forum, Kalu described agriculture as a powerful tool for job creation, economic stability, and youth retention, noting that productivity gains in farming directly translate into national stability. He urged farmers to organize better, adopt modern technology, and increase productivity, while challenging government at all levels to engage more deliberately with agricultural stakeholders.
Organize, enhance technology, increase your productivity. You are not asking for charity. You are building wealth and building a nation. You demand the infrastructure and services you deserve.
The Deputy Speaker also called on state governments to back their commitment with funding, recommending that at least 5% of states' budgets be allocated to agricultural infrastructure, driven by data and accountability. He did not spare the private sector, urging investors to take bold risks in processing, logistics, and market systems, while working with smallholder farmers as partners rather than vendors.
This is my charge to the state government. Allocate at least 5% of your budget to agricultural infrastructure. Implement the market mapping framework we have pioneered. Use data to target investments. Hold yourselves accountable for agricultural outputs and job creation in your states.
The Deputy Speaker stressed that Nigeria already has the resources, policies, and partnerships needed to achieve food security, but lacks unified will. With rising food prices and growing concerns over food access, the call places renewed pressure on stakeholders to move from rhetoric to results in securing Nigeria's agricultural future. Aniete Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
The National Bureau of Statistics, that is NBS, says headline inflation rate fell by 2.18 percentage points to 15.15% in December 2025 from 17.33% in November 2025. The NBS disclosed this in its Consumer Price Index CPI report for December 2025. Earlier this week, the Bureau adjusted its CPI methodology to clarify projected spike in Nigeria's December 2025 inflation figure, noting that the increase is the consequence of a technical methodology and not of deteriorating economic condition. The federal government has introduced the Nigerian Industrialization Policy, an initiative designed to drive value addition, industrial growth, and employment creation across the country. Minister of State for Industry, John Eno, announced that the policy, during its soft launch in Lagos, held alongside the presentation of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group Microeconomic Outlook Report for 2026, said the region approved and validated one in 2025. The policy reflected a coordinated approach to industrialization, trade, and investment. And now on the foreign scene, Uganda's electoral chief says the country's presidential election was generally peaceful, stating that the votes counting has concluded in many areas. Electoral Commission Chairperson Simon Bapakama announced this during an election update, a day after voting took place under an internet blackout and amid long delays caused by technical failures, as 81-year-old incumbent President Yoweri Museveni speaks and seeks to extend his 40 years in power. Uyi Agbomofuebe has the rest of the story.
There have been widespread reports that biometric machines used to verify voters' identity were malfunctioning, which some have blamed on the government's decision to shut down the internet during the election. However, Uganda President Yoweri Museveni said he faced difficulties voting due to technical problems in Thursday's elections, as the country faced an internet shutdown and widespread delays. Bapakama announced that vote counting has concluded in many areas, urging all candidates, their agents, and supporters to remain calm and tolerant as the declaration of final results begins.
The Commission notes the exercise has therefore been generally peaceful across the country. We once again salute the people of Uganda for having turned up in high numbers to elect their leaders and for conducting themselves in a peaceful manner and for bearing with us as the Commission. As we talk now, the counting of votes in many places has been concluded, and the declaration of results, or the tallying, the declaration of results, as the declaration of results gets underway.
The voting process, which took place amid an internet blackout and technical delays, has been closely watched both domestically and internationally. Museveni, Africa's longest-serving leader, is aiming for another term in office, continuing his 40-year tenure that began in 1986. Meanwhile, the Commission has released early provisional results from the presidential election, showing President Yoweri Museveni leading with 61.7% of the votes counted so far. Uyi Agbomofuebe, reporting for Global TV News.
Now to the world of sport, where the Confederation of African Football, that is CAF, has unveiled eAFCON, a digital version of the Total Energy African Cup of Nations, making the organization France a leader in esports. CAF says the initiative is key part of its commercial strategy, developed in partnership with the Konami through the game eFootball, and aims to engage younger fans while diversifying revenue streams. The continental body described eAFCON as a significant step for the African esport ecosystem, signaling a bold expansion of African football into the gaming world. And that's the size of the AM News on Global Television this morning. But before we go, a quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms at Global TV NG. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Many thanks for watching.
Hello and welcome to the weather update. I'm Sefia Sayunusa and here's a look at the weather conditions expected across the country. We begin in the northern parts of the country where visibility is expected to improve gradually by Saturday. However, slight dust hails will still prevail across the region. Moving into the north-central state, moderate dust hails is anticipated. There are chances of significantly reduced visibility over parts of Niger State. With the incursion of more moisture into the country, the south is expected to experience partly cloudy conditions. There is also a prospect of isolated thunderstorms over parts of Lagos, Edo, Bayelsa, Rivers, Delta, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River State. These storms may be accompanied by brief rainfall and gusty winds in some locations. And that's the latest weather outlook. Stay safe and stay informed. Thank you for watching.